Alright guys, today we're here to do an interesting video, and it's my Phillips Hue setup. So you guys have probably heard about Phillips Hue for a while now. You know, I have almost my whole houses and this whole entire game room, movie room and stuff has always had Phillips Hue light bulbs, and I use them. You know, they've always been fantastic and stuff, but they recently came out with something called Phillips Hue Sync. And Phillips Hue Sync is basically, if you guys are familiar with their light strips that we've all used for a long time, now basically you get like an HDMI box that you basically pass through your HDMI connections from, and anything that your TV is showing, it will actually mimic the colors on screen on the light strip. And it's something that always grabbed my attention, but I wasn't really sure how it would work in the movie room and stuff, and that's kind of where I do most of my movie watching and my gaming, so I always hesitated a little bit. And I originally bought it with the intention of actually adding it into my bedroom to actually do it, because I have the best 4K TV in the room, or in the house, is actually in the bedroom, and I do some movie watching and TV watching in there as well, probably second most to this room here. And I thought about putting it in there, so I got it with that intention. Then I was like, you know what? I got it. Let me actually see what it would look like if I put it in the movie room, because with these light strips, if you guys are not familiar with Philips Hue Sync, the intention is to take these light strips and, of course, put it behind the TV. Because obviously behind the TV, then if you have a white wall behind it, it will showcase the colors behind the wall, like we've all seen them do. But in my movie room, it's a projector, and with the way that my setup is, that you guys will see here in a minute, I can't put it behind the projector screen. It wouldn't project anything on the wall, so I couldn't do that. So what I did instead is I actually got two regular light strips that I already owned in other places and moved them, and they go on the side of the movie room on the top. And then in the center, which is, you know, where most of the light comes from when you're looking at directly at the screen, I added the gradient light strip that they have, which is the one that has more colors and it can reproduce the colors better and all that kind of stuff. And I added that to the top of my movie screen. The top of the projector kind of just lays there on top. And the reason that this was a little nerve-wracking is because obviously you're adding light to a projector. Projector obviously needs to be, you know, you'll wash the screen out if you have too much light, you know, projecting on the screen. So luckily there's an app, and you can kind of balance how much brightness you want, how intense you want it to be. So I wanted to play with it and see what it looked like. So I set this up so you guys can take a look at it now, so you guys can see, you know, how it turned out, and show you guys what my setup is like. So let's go ahead and dive in and take a look.
Gaming tech, eating brekkie is the gaming tech. Going for a brekkie is the gaming tech. Gaming techie is the gaming tech. Gaming techie.
Alright guys, so here we are talking about my Philips Hue Sync lights. As you guys are seeing here, I have them on the corner of the movie room on both sides. They go all the way along, and then on the other side as well. They also go all the way along on the edges there. And then there's also, and those are the regular like light plus strips that are on the top. And then here in the center above the projector screen, as you're seeing here as we get closer to it, is the gradient light strip that I have sitting at the top of the projector screen. Now, like I talked about at the top of this intro, we know that this isn't technically the ideal situation when it comes to setting this up, because obviously ideally you would have that gradient light strip is meant to kind of be behind the actual screen, and or if it was a TV, and then project it to the wall. But as you guys can see with the way my movie room is set up, there's no possible way for me to do that. So I just wanted to see if this was going to be cool. I had plans on putting this upstairs in my regular Samsung 4K TV in the bedroom and just kind of use it there. But then I put it down here, and me and my wife actually ended up liking it. Even though this is probably a really obscure way of setting this up, it still is really cool. And it still adds a cool factor to the room that we'll show here in a minute for certain applications. That's still really fun to do and really fun to set up this way. So these are, like, again, there's one on the left, one on the right, and then the one in the center. And this is all set up with my Epson projector here that is currently turned on, and the Epson projector just goes straight into the sync box that's sitting right there, and then the sync box, and then the cable from the Denon receiver that's sitting all the way over there. I have an HDMI cable going from the Denon receiver to the actual sync box from Philips, and then that sync box goes to the projector, and it works with no issues. The only issue is that for those of you guys who don't know, is it does not work with 3D movies at all. I was hoping to use these lights with 3D movies because I'm a big 3D fan, and this projector is 3D, but unfortunately it is not compatible. So any 3D stuff will not let the lights sync up anymore. So keep that in mind. So now that we're done talking about, you know, kind of what my setup is like, let's go ahead and turn these lights off now. And if I turn these lights off, you can see what we're looking at here and how this looks like. And you can, of course, go into the Sync app, as you guys are seeing right here. That is the Sync app there, and you can see that you can select either it being a video or music or game. You can adjust the intensity, and then you can also adjust the brightness. And most of the time when I'm in the movie room, most of the time this is the brightness that I choose, because if I go any higher, of course you're going to wash the screen out at that point, because you are using a projector, so you have to make sure you know, not to mess up that light. And that was kind of my concern, of course, when people set something like this up, is you can't wash the screen out, because a projector, obviously, you're supposed to have it as dark as possible in a dark room. But like I said, this adds a really cool effect to playing games and movies. So let's leave the app to the side here, and let's go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. Let's start off with a regular music video first. So here we are with Taki Taki, DJ Snake, Selena Gomez, and Cardi B. And you can see what this kind of adds to the room here. You can see what the lights are doing. So it's turning everything green, it's turning everything blue. And it kind of makes you feel like when you're in here watching, you know, a music video like this or a game, this is just a really cool effect to have in here, because it adds to the music, and it adds to the fact that, you know, how this is being played, and kind of adds to the atmosphere of watching movies like this or watching something like this. And again, this is just a music video. You can see how all the lights are flickering and changing, and it's a really cool feature to be able to do this way. And here is a trailer of the Adobe Atmos that's really cool to show off how these lights actually all work in here.
This is Dolby Cinema.
So this is the Dolby Cinema trailer, which is really cool.
Cinematic technology you've ever experienced begins. This is Dolby Atmos. The number of speakers around you no longer matters, because this is the world's first object-based cinematic audio.
So you can see it's shining that side, going to the center, moving across. Now it's moving across over here. It's going all the way around. So it's moving the sound all the way around with the lights and stuff, which is really cool.
Whether the soundscape sits the mood of a scene.
Whoa! What is this place? Whoa! Come on, you guys, let's go!
Or captures the full extent
Do you want to know my secret?
of nature's fury. And remember this? It's just the beginning of Dolby Vision. Because what you thought was black isn't. This is black. This is contrast that reveals details deeper than any image you've seen on a screen. This is luminance that means the difference between white and pure energy. Energy that is about to reveal an entire universe of color you've never experienced in the cinema.
So yeah, that gives you guys another snippet of another video of what you guys can expect, you know, when watching trailers. And that trailer is fantastic. It's called Adobe Presents Universe trailer. It's a really cool trailer to show off your home theater setup, especially if you have Atmos speakers like I do here as well. And with this Phillips Hue Sync, it kind of gives you a good impression of how that stuff will work. So it's the trailer I usually show off, just show the system off when friends and family are over. Now this is the How to Train Your Dragon trailer, just to give you guys an idea. So when you're watching a movie in here, so of course the lights right now are all white because nothing's a predominant color in here, but you can see how everything is alternating. and the screen is not being washed out. The light is at a perfect level. Like I said, you can't really put the lights that much higher on the Phillips Hue app that I was showing you, because if you do, then it's going to wash the screen out because things will get too bright. So you kind of have to play with that. It definitely can vary scene by scene, or not scene by scene, but game by game. Like for games, I usually put the brightness up higher if I'm playing like Halo or Rocket League or something, because that doesn't matter, and the screen is still pretty good. But for movies and stuff, this is kind of like the brightness I like, because it still adds the ambience to the room, where the colors in the room are changing and you kind of see them and you feel them, but it's not washing out the screen in any sort of way, and the screen still looks fantastic this way. And it still gives the idea of what I want this to look like, where when you're in a movie and you're in the sky and things are all blue, things turn blue. When, you know, things are happening on the screen and there's a fire-breathing dragon and it's all red, then, you know, it gets red, so it gives that effect here. So you can see how the colors are predominantly changing depending on what's going on the screen. And remember that the left side is concentrating on the left-hand side of the screen, the right strip is concentrating on the right, and then the middle one is kind of concentrating on all of it. So that's how it's basically set up.
What are you gonna do?
You can see that red dragon, see how everything is turning red there, and how it went across the screen, where he started breathing red over here and then it came this way, and now that whole thing is red. So really, really cool stuff on how this could work. Now, of course, we did also talk about games. So for example, if I wanted to play a game, and again, this varies game by game, and the reason for that is because, you know, for a game like NHL, for example, one of the games that I play the most on here, obviously the predominant color on there is going to be white because it's the ice the whole entire time. So again, you might have to adjust the brightness a little bit on the app game by game and put that one a little bit less bright, because obviously the lights are then going to be too white at that point, and it's going to wash the screen out, so I leave that a little bit lower. But what is cool with NHL is that when you score a goal, since the predominant color becomes the color of the jerseys of the players because it goes on screen, then my whole room kind of turns red when I score a goal when I play with the New Jersey Devils, which is really cool because, you know, the jerseys are on there and they're celebrating, and that's the predominant color on the screen, so that's really cool. But then for games like Halo, for example, so you can see here as we're playing Halo, you can see the colors of the room are changing. So now that I came in this corridor, they're a little bit more orange. And then as I'm going through, depending on what's going on in the scene, and what the predominant color is, you can see that now it's a little bit more blue, then it goes back to here. So this just adds a little bit of ambience to the actual room while you're playing games. So it's a subtle effect, unless if it's a really bright screen. But again, it's really cool to have in this room when you're playing games, and I'm actually really happy that I did this in the movie room, because originally, like, I thought I wasn't going to be able to do this in here because and you can see when you die, it all turned red there, so that's really cool, because, you know, that guy hammered me to death. But yeah, I didn't expect this to work as well as it does, or I knew it was going to work well, but I didn't think I was going to like it because the projector, you can't have a lot of light going onto the projector or it's going to be terrible. So that's why I didn't expect it to be something worthwhile. So if you guys have any questions about what this setup looks like, or if you want to implement it on yours, and if you have any questions on how Phillips Hue Sync could work for you, let me know, and leave those questions down below, and then we'll get into that. All right, guys, so that is my movie room Phillips Hue setup. I'm actually surprised with how well it actually turned out. I actually am going to leave it in here. I'm not putting it in the bedroom. And it's going to be fantastic in here, and I've already gotten, you know, my wife loves it, everyone who's seen it has loved it, and they think it's really, really cool. Adds to the atmosphere in the room. Leaving it at that percentage of what I showed you, about 30 to 40% for most of the content that I do for gaming and stuff, is usually what the sweet spot is, because if you put it at 50 or 60 or 70, it's going to be way too bright, and then you're going to see that the screen's going to get washed out on your projector. But with my projector I have, which is the Epson 5040, 3D projector, it works fantastic at the setting of 40, and it still gives the room, you know, the color. It's not like it's not bright enough. It really fills the room up regardless, and it doesn't really ever do anything to the screen. Like you guys saw, it looks really, really cool, and it gives more of a movie theater vibe with the lights on the sides and stuff. So I really, really like it, and it adds stuff to the gameplay. Like you guys saw, you know, watching movies and stuff with these lights adds to the ambiance. Playing games, you know, really cool when you're in there and you're in like a, you know, underwater level and everything is blue, or where you got shot and everything goes red, or when you score a goal in NHL and your team scores and their jerseys are red and everything lights up. It's just a lot of fun, and it adds a really cool effect to my movie room, and I'm glad I did this, and I'm really happy with the results. So if you guys have any questions about what you guys have seen in today's video, as always, leave it down below. If not, thank you guys for watching. Till next time.